Hello. Good evening. Good to be with you again. Starting off a new week. Well, we started off the new week last night. Actually, yesterday morning with our coffee stream. On YouTube and Instagram Live, which I think we're going to be doing a little bit more often, especially on a Monday morning, perhaps. That was nice. We did it at 11 o'clock just so that it wasn't too crazy early for everybody on the West Coast and still technically morning on the East Coast. Though in my house, 11 o'clock might as well be the evening. That's how we're usually up and about doing our thing for a while already. Anywho. And then, of course, last night was book club. We did the finale of Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, and it was wonderful. It really was wonderful. Came up last night too. I don't know. This is not one of those books that was dystopian. I can't take it. It had it was a nice. I liked this ending. I had never read it, at least not consciously. I think I read it in high school. I know nothing about it. Definitely didn't know the ending, what was coming. It was really great, and of course that'll be made public in about a month or two, perhaps once we're in the middle of reading. The Big Fisherman by Lloyd C. Douglas for around Easter time. But it's February. We're looking toward February now. February's on Saturday. And this is going to be the first month of our film club. And we're going to be doing Interstellar this month. And I hope that we're going to... There's so much more. I've been writing down all these different movies I want to watch again as an adult with people. Even things like Rear Window, Alfred Hitchcock, and things like that. I love these movies. And I've never seen an Interstellar before, so that should be nice. But what else are we going to be reading as time goes on in the, let me see here, The Big Fisherman. We have The Adventures of Tom Sawyer in June. In August, I don't know what to, I think I want to pick Jules Verne. Maybe The Mysterious Island or something like that. I've never read Jules Verne, but I own a book. And I got it so I would have inspiration to pick it up and read. So I would love to do some Jules Verne. And then in October, we'll just pick some short stories again, because that was really fun this past year. Anyway, become a sponsor and be a part of it all, because it really is a wonderfully intimate experience, and it's good for the brain. Don't give yourselves any cop-outs. Start reading, or else your mind will rot. All right. So I'm here in the studio tonight. We have a clear schedule just for you and I. We a little bit of adjustments to the guest schedule, but we have some great things coming up. And on the 13th of February is when we're going to be talking with Bob Motta instead of tonight. Got Dr. Robin McCutcheon on tomorrow night in the first half. I think we're going to have a little bit of a crash course on birthright citizenship in the second half, which might feature a little bit of Chris Ann Hall. On Thursday, we got Zach Voorhees coming on in the first half to talk about quantum computing, especially from the Willow aspect of it all, AI, and of course tying in Stargate from that level. We're going to have Ryan Gable come on February 5th to talk about Stargate from a de-occulting level. Like, what does it all mean from an occult standpoint? This Friday, I don't know if Matt is in yet. I hope he is, but we're going to be talking about a number of things, and I have some ideas for that. Next week will be great, though. February 3rd, Brendan Dilley in the first half, Rich Barris in the second half, because I want to talk about the fast pace, the lightning fast pace of the Trump administration and a lot of the things that are going on right now. And I want to talk about the good and where things are going to be going, especially if Brendan has any inside baseball. Because I'll tell you one thing, there's something going on right now that harkens back to a conversation he and I had off air that I think it's probably safe enough to talk about now. And I'll bring that up, but I'll bring it up tonight too, when we get around to some of the footage from today's inaugural press conference from this Levitt girl. I forget her first name. Levitt. So we had the new press secretary out there just working the room and everything. And it's I just want to bring some things up to you because I think it'll be good. Lauren Conlon is going to be back on with us next week, the February 4th. Lauren Conlon and the Zell brothers right after her. She's been doing really amazing work on the Utah situation out there with the Hamlins and the Levitts of their own. And that'll be great because then after she's on, then the Zells will come on, and that's going to be a good one. Jim Lee is coming back on February 6th. We're going to be talking about Make America Healthy Again, the AI assessment, anything else that's happening. I have 2 now because you guys, you did such great liking of the YouTube video and voting in the YouTube poll that we had on Friday night. I'm going to give you 2 Saturday night specials in February. At least that's what I hope. Now, on February 8th, I'm going to bring my father on. It's a Saturday night. My father on and my cousin Jeffrey, who's actually my godfather. And they are a hoot together. They are a hoot together. They really are. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to sit down with them and just go through like a top 10 of music from different eras. Maybe it can be Valentine's Day related or whatever, and just see what memories it triggers in them, and just have them riff a little bit, and we'll just hang out on a Saturday night. Anthony will be here. We'll talk music. We'll talk culture, and that'll be nice. And then on February 22nd, Saturday night, February 22nd, weather permitting, and I say weather permitting because 2 of the guys that I would like to have over here that night will not be able to come if it is snowing outside or something, because it's Mike and Matt. We're getting the Dirty Boys back together for February 22nd. So we're going to have 2 Saturday night specials in February. Okay? And then I'm already planning some stuff out in March. We have a lot of new guests that are coming on and stuff like that. Albert Taylor, we're finally getting around to that. I have a lot of out-of-body experience questions for him. I want to ask him more paranormal questions, gate program, things like that. It's all in the mix. It's all in the mix for this upcoming month. Oh, how nauseating is it to even think about the Super Bowl matchup? Eagles and Chiefs. Ugh, how gross. It's really just about boxes, getting your family and friends together, making fun of the commercials that used to be kind of awesome, and now they're just cringe as shit, and making sandwiches. I think this year we're just going to be buying a whole bunch of cold cuts and rolls, and Lauren's going to be making meatballs, and we're just going to hang out and just see if anybody hits on their Super Bowl pools from the deli. Whose boxes are going to hit? Whose box is going to get smashed? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I'm welcoming you all here tonight. Now, I'm going to have some personal news to talk about as well. But we'll get through our grab bag and then jump right into it, because we have some space to kind of stretch out this evening, since there's nobody coming in except you guys. Except you guys. I have some questions for all of you out there. And I hope that you respond to them. First things first, into the grab bag we go. It's from Yahoo. The CDC has been ordered to stop working with the WHO immediately, upending expectations of an extended withdrawal. Nice. Now, I also heard that other countries like Italy and perhaps 1 or 2 African countries are saying, to hell with you, WHO, as well. But this is really awesome. I'm very happy about it. U.S. public health officials have been told to stop working with the World Health Organization effective immediately. U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention official John Neckendzong sent a memo to senior leaders at the agency on Sunday night telling them that all staff who work with the WHO must immediately stop their collaborations and await further guidance. Hopefully, that further guidance never comes. Hopefully. We can all be hopeful, can we? I certainly am. Let's just be hopeful together. Anyway. All right, let's go to something else that should be of note to everyone. Great significance after this past holiday season that was just pockmarked with the UAP, UFO, drone talk. A lot of strange things happen here. The White House today, Carolyn Levitt. It was her first time up there. That's her first name, Carolyn Levitt. She provided some much-needed transparency regarding DroneGate incident that sparked nationwide concerns over potential threats from China and Russia. People like me and you never suspected China or Russia. Never, ever. In a press conference on Tuesday afternoon, Levitt said the drones spotted over New Jersey and New York in December had been authorized by the Federal Aviation Administration for research purposes. An update on the New Jersey drones. After research and study, the drones flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA or research and various other reasons. Many of these drones are hobbyist and recreational drones that enjoy flying. What? Seriously, think about this for a second. The FAA had authorization, so then why do we have the Pentagon saying they don't know? Why do we have local authorities who should be working in lockstep with the FAA? What's the Federal Aviation Administration? Are you not going to tell people about what's going on in local airspaces or anything like that? County executives don't know shit like that? Of course they do. Now, what's the research? You can say, well, the research could be classified. Does the FAA be given top secret or classified research projects? I don't know. That's not a rhetorical question. I don't know. But the levels at which this phenomenon was addressed in public and the mixed messaging we got from the highest of authorities, at least highest of public authorities, this still makes no sense. It still makes no sense. Because prior to this press conference with Carolyn Levitt, we saw the media essentially doubling and tripling down on just labeling everything that was happening over the holiday season with these things as hysteria. Now, I'm sure after you have garnered enough attention from the public, there's going to be a lot of just things that are misidentified, planes that are just planes, people who are trying to add to the chaos by putting their own stuff up in the air. But this is not it. She concluded on the drone subject, this was not the enemy. Not the enemy. So, and then they, Zero Hedge says New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew has some explaining to do. Because he was talking about how he was given the insight that there was a mothership off the coast of the U.S. I mean, still, here's the issue. There were plenty of local authorities who were trying to get to the bottom of where these things were going. I mean, they couldn't trace them. They had no reason to lie, especially how local it is. I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. And I'm sure that there was a lot of bullshit in there, and I'm sure that someone does know, which is why you get the mixed messaging. So I don't know. And I guess that's just the way it's going to be. Left to our own speculation from here on in. All right, well, here's some interesting timing for something else over on The Sun. Dawn Prophecy. We just did this 2 Fridays ago. Did 2 obscure 1800s books predict Trump's return and the rise of Son Baron? A wild theory says he may be the last president. The books written in the late 19th century were largely forgotten until Trump's re-election ignited interest. So The Sun is talking about Ingersoll Lockwood now. I don't know what else to say. That's it. I mean, I have 1900 or The Last President. Maybe we can make that one of our book club readings. So that's what they're talking about. Ahead of the news once again. Which is good. It's a good thing for us because now, we're going to talk about this just on the other side of the opening. If you may have heard, you may not have, but there's now an open portal for everyday people like myself who work in new media, who can go out there and apply for press credentials to join all of the shenanigans over there at the White House. Now you can rub shoulders with Peter Doocy and everybody else who thought that they were just so cool that their shit didn't stink. Well, guess what? Shit does stink. Stinks like shit. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so much.
By the way, the definition of the word retard is to hinder or to hold someone back. I think your life is about to become retarded. Yeah!
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's...
Indeed. Screaming revenge again. Hey. Oh, did you guys see Aurora? This is from Aurora. I was just about to walk out the door. We just said goodbye. She said, "Oh, wait." And I saw her rummaging through things, using one hand to keep her beautiful hair out of her face, rummaging through things, and she found this and she picked it up and she came over to me. She goes, "Here, in case you get lost. In case you get lost, you might need this." So I guess this is my lantern today. Today it is an orange bell pepper instead of a pumpkin. So this will keep me my bearings. I'll keep my bearings with this. She always taking care of me. All right. So welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the show. We'll go to some things. Let's start with the White House, shall we? Here is Caroline Levitt. I'll learn everybody's names. Go easy on me. Let's just start with a little something up front. Here you go.
And in keeping with this revolutionary media approach that President Trump deployed during the campaign, the Trump White House will speak to all media outlets and personalities, not just the legacy media who are seated in this room. Because according to recent polling from Gallup, Americans' trust in mass media has fallen to a record low. Millions of Americans, especially young people, have turned from traditional television outlets and newspapers to consume their news from podcasts, blogs, social media, and other independent outlets. It's essential to our team that we share President Trump's message everywhere and adapt this White House.
They should have a special room just for shit posters. Like you have to send out a special delegate out there too. Like I don't understand. Like there has to be also somebody working at the White House under the supervision and answering to the press secretary should be the special, the special speaker, the special, the attendant to this one shit posting room where you have, of course, your bloggers and you have your podcasters, you have your talk show hosts and stuff like that. And then you have a room where it's literally just the bottom of the barrel shit posters who just are just talking about the latest memes and doing meme reviews and trying to address current events through the dankest of the memes. There should be a shit posting room over there at the White House. Please, somebody listen to me. Please. Anyway, we'll keep going because this is pretty great.
To the new media landscape in 2025. To do this, I'm excited to announce the following changes will be made to this historic James S. Brady briefing room, where Mr. Brady's legacy will endure. This White House believes strongly in the First Amendment, so it's why our team will work diligently to restore the press passes of the 440 journalists whose passes were wrongly revoked by the previous administration. We're also opening up this briefing room to new media voices who produce news-related content and whose outlet is not already represented by one of the seats in this room.
And also shit posters. We want more shit posters here.
We welcome independent journalists,
shit posters,
podcasters, social media influencers,
jugglers, flame spitters,
and content creators to apply for credentials to cover this White House.
Also, we're going to have a special room for anybody who hangs weights from their nipples. Puts themselves up on hooks every night.
You can apply now on our new website, whitehouse.gov/new media.
And now I did it already. I did it. Now, how many times I need to do it? How many times I need to do it? I don't know. I guess I'll try every so often, but I already did it because why the hell not? This is the most important thing I said. One of the most important things that Donald Trump could have done starting in 2016, right after he won in 2016, regardless of what he was able to get done legislatively. I was hoping that there was a couple of good Supreme Court picks in there. We got one. We got Gorsuch. He's really the only one we can hang our hat on at this point. But still, the other thing I said, the best thing he could do for this culture in the time that he's got the bully pulpit at his disposal is to anoint new media. That's how you really break the back. And they're so flailing right now. It's fantastic. They are pathetic. It's so I love it. I love it so much. I love it. You got to find some things to love, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be committed. Don't be committed to the black pill. There's some things you just got to go, ugh, well, there's nothing good I can say about that. But don't let that become your personality. You got to find something to love. And there's a lot of cool things going on right now. But yeah, there you go. Who knows? You know what I sent them? I sent in, it asked for your name. It asked for an address, a email address, what you represent. So I told them the show, current events, history, human interest. And I also sent a link. The link probably will get me, disqualified because you know how links are. But I sent them an electronic press kit. You press the link and it's the most recent profile of the show, guests that have been on, metrics, all that stuff. I give it to people who want to sponsor, or if I want to bring whatever for pitching big guests, want to show them that we're legit, and we are legit, more legit than anything that has these billion-dollar networks in New York City or anywhere else. Absolutely. You know what? You do enough work, you put enough time in, and at least you can at least become confident in yourself and your product you put out every night. Absolutely. No doubt. So that's a pretty big turn of events. Now here's something else. Here's something else I thought was really great as far as just other little clips of her press conference today, dealing with one of those ridiculous reporters who represents a strange reality where up is down, in is out. Illegal immigrants are immigrants. Here she is answering a question about deportations, which have been also making a big splash in the news.
Immigration. Of the 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office, can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
Okay, so listen to this. Listen to this. Because I know it's coming in a little bit low, and for podcast audiences, I just want to put it out there. This woman says, we know that there's been about 3,500 arrests, ICE or whatever, and they're going after criminals and stuff. We just want to know how many of the 3,500 are people who have committed crimes or are just living in the country illegally. This is why we need shit posters to be allowed in these rooms, because the people who sit there with their $700 pantsuits and sit there with their notepad and their pen, and they cross their legs and they look inquisitively at the press secretary and try to act like they belong there, fucking forget about them. These questions are ridiculous. How many of these people are criminals and how many are just living here illegally? Are you fucking serious? But yes, they are. They're seriously unserious. So one more time.
Back into office, can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws, and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
You may have kind of one of the worst first. They all have a criminal record.
And welcome to the break.
If they broke our nation's laws, yes, they are a criminal. Yes.
I mean, just what it is. You obviously the easiest ones I see a lot of gang related raids. That's fantastic. Been seeing a lot of that stuff. So there's going to be a lot of really violent, gang-related arrests, drugs, trafficking, all of that stuff. But along the way, what are you going to do? Turn a blind eye? You can't turn a blind eye anymore. That has just run out. Run out. I got a lot more to say on this in the second half. Fuck it, we can say right now. We'll do a little bit more. So there you go. I like that approach right there. Here's another one. Here's another one I think is very, very big. And then we're going to go on to a little bit more ice, and then we'll get personal in the second half. I want to give you updates on what's going on over here. Then I want to ask you about, similar things that may be going on in your towns and villages and cities around the country. So take a listen to this. Hold on.
Just during this pause, Doge and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. Doge and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on, being good stewards of tax dollars.
50 million, that's probably the foreign aid pause and all that stuff. It should be a foreign aid elimination across the board. Nobody gets a red cent. Nobody gets a plug nickel. Nobody. No one. You can't say that we're favoring anybody because we're just pulling it all in. We don't got the money. This is a credit card. This is a credit card, okay? We don't have the money. Sorry. But $50 million, and we've gone through so many wasteful things. We've gone through, every year, I love going through the Rand Paul Festivus report and things like that. And, at least on this show, we've almost got 2 decades under our belt of just gasping at the stuff that's being taken from us, spent without any real uproar from the country. $50 million. $50 million for condoms in Gaza? First of all, if you think that it was going to condoms in Gaza, and this is the big thing we have to talk about, especially when Brendan Dilley comes on. Because the real question I was wondering about was how you are going to hamstring the actual shadow government, the actual parallel government, the one that is like a vampire drawing all of this stuff out of our spending bills, out of our foreign aid, all of that, and filtering it back into the country to really put the jet fuel into the tank for all of these street movements, all of these demonstrations in the streets, the organization that's going on here, there, and the other place. There is a lot of domestic operations that are going on to, seditious operations that are going on to create and foment division here at home. And some of that becomes quite violent. Who the hell do you think was putting out pallets of bricks in American cities all over the place in 2020 to make sure that somebody had something to throw when shit hit the fan? When only the jackals were out in the street and everybody else was at home watching Netflix with a mask strapped around their face, strapped around their asshole. It's serious. So, I was talking with Dilley. And we got to talk about it now because I think that the plan is pretty big right here. There's a $300 billion environmental or whatever slush fund that was also frozen by President Trump. $50 million for condoms, $300 billion at a clip. I saw those headlines about a week or so ago. And I said to myself, this is what Dilley was talking about. They know exactly where all the money is coming from. As you can see, there's no real way to raise money for people like Kamala Harris. This is what all of the crypto laundering that was going on in Ukraine was all about. That was going right through Ukraine, coming back right into our elections over here at home for the midterms. No doubt about it. Republican establishment, Democrat establishment, They all dip into that, no doubt about it. These are slush funds that are all over the place, that only exist because they are taken from us or they are taken out of the central bank in our names. And they are used at the discretion of people who hate us and want to do whatever the hell they want with the world, and we're paying for it. It's either coming right out of our checks or we are pledged as collateral for the loans. Okay? So when you hear about these things, the $300 billion getting frozen, earmarked for environmental bullshit or whatever, a lot of that stuff was just sitting there to foment some kind of spring revolution over here in the streets, some summertime nonsense, whatever the hell it is. I would have to imagine that they have some stuff left in the kitty. But this must be part of the long-term plan of making sure that the troublemakers have less and less resources to cause trouble. I mean, maybe they'll get crafty. I don't know. They're obviously not going to give up, but I just wonder. So I'm going to ask some questions over the next week or so when we have some great guests coming on. That'll be a great night in itself on the 3rd when we have Dilly and Rich Barris coming on for their first 2025 appearances. But yeah, $50 million for condoms. Condoms. Anyway, but there's more. There's more. Let's get on over to here. Nicole Wallace is having a really bad night. She's having a bad night. She was having a bad night the other night. Here she is. Take a listen to this. Thank you to Citizen Free Press for clipping it. Here we go.
As we come on the air, the old saying, elections have consequences, is playing out in very real time, in a very real way in cities all across our country, as the Trump administration makes good on one of Trump's most controversial campaign promises, a promise that was immortalized in that sea of signs at the Republican National Convention. Mass deportations now, 1 week into Trump's second term.
Now. Mass deportations now. Ugh. God, every time one of these ladies on television go into their fry, they should go down 2 more points in the ratings. People should just click off in a rage.
Term. It's no longer an abstract idea or controversial campaign promise or even a convention sign. The deportations are underway.
Good, Nicole. Good.
Well, it's been a great day today. Can't wait for more.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Abstract idea. What the hell? What does that even mean? Well, elections have consequences. I know. You got your asses kicked because of you, Nicole. Because of you. Almost like, well, you shouldn't have stayed home. The votes weren't there for you. You're losing it. Do you understand that? Like, what are you talking about? It's like you're getting together for group therapy in some dark alleyway. You're becoming like junkies. Bunch of tweaking out people in a fucking mainstream media alleyway. Elections have consequences. We just got to get out the vote. It's like, whatever. I'm just happy you're upset, Nicole. You're a horrible person and you do terrible work. What do you want me to say? Bad person, you do terrible work. I'm surprised. I'm surprised they're still not looking for the missing 8 million votes. 8 million people didn't know that elections have consequences. Did they not know that there was a Nazi rally right there in broad daylight in Madison Square Garden? Where did those 8 million people go? Oh, I wonder how blue California really is. We'll talk about that, too, later on in the month of February when Marley Hornick comes back on. It's been a while since we spoke with Marley, so we'll talk about that. Let's see here. What else do we have? All right, there is a little bit more on Zero Hedge, just to kind of tack on to what's going on in Nicole Wallace's life. Border Reporter has never seen anything like this before. It's by Steve Watson at modernity.news. Fox News reporter Bill Melugan published a post on Monday outlining how he's never seen anything like what is happening at the border since President Trump took over a week ago. Per sources, Border Patrol recorded just 582 illegal crossings at the southern border yesterday, with not a single one of the 9 sectors hitting 200 crossings. I've never seen anything this low in any of my border coverage, says Malugin. He continued, the numbers were already flat and low in Biden's final week, bouncing between 1,200 to 1,400 illegal crossings a day, which is still an incredible amount of people. You think about how hard it is to get people to respond to your Facebook events and come to your birthday party. If you saw 17 people say, I'm coming, you'd be like, holy shit, this is going to be a party. 1,400 a day. The thing that is low, and I'm still just disgusted. Malugin reports that the numbers he's breaking them down, noting, to put this into perspective, at the height of the border crisis in December of 2023, Border Patrol hit a record high of 11,000 illegal crossings across the border in a single day, with the Del Rio sector alone getting 4,000 people. That's half of Madison Square Garden in one day. Could fit about 22,000, 23,000 people in Madison Square Garden. That's half of that arena in one day. Oh, they better 3,500? Better up it. Those are rookie numbers. We got to get, this has got to start going. I'm told there were 582 illegal, for someone to say, are you going after criminals or just the people who are living here illegally? Just to think about the people who ran here in the last couple of years, because this is essentially like saying, well, why would you just go after people who ran here and just snuck into the country and just started burrowing a hole somewhere and got a job washing dishes and is avoiding the authorities, or is not avoiding the authorities because the entire government was set up to cater to them for some odd reason. And that's the other thing we have to get around to here, is talking about the intent of the government, which has never been laid as bare as it is right now. Never been laid more bare. But, when you have all of those like flash mobs of people who go into like a Dolce and Gabbana store or something like that, and or all of the gang members and all of the kids from the neighborhood that showed up at Target in Minnesota and anywhere else, and they knew that, there's going to be very little repercussions for our actions here. Let's go and raid Target, everything, anywhere else, and take whatever the hell we want and just walk out, smile at the cameras, and just be on our way. Are they all not criminals? Should they all not, in a responsible, sane world, be in jail? That's exactly what's happening with every last person who crossed the border over the last couple of years. They heard that there was a fire sale at Target in Minnesota, and they were running here to get a part of the free action. They said, nobody's enforcing the law. Let's go break it. So yes, every last one. Every last one. I'm told that there were 582 illegal crossings across the border on yesterday, with only 60 happening in the Del Rio sector, and there are no longer 1,500 migrants being released at ports of entry via the CBP. One cell phone app every single day, as Trump immediately terminated the program. So he says it's very early. We'll see if these incredibly low numbers hold, especially heading into the spring. But, man, wouldn't you believe it? Wouldn't you believe it? Just incredible. And there's more. It's the reaction from the people. It's the reaction from the people that they don't get it. Here's Wall Street Apes. Residents are confirming that Mexican restaurant Cilantro Taquera in Cleveland, Ohio, was raided by ICE. This guy makes a trip to the location. I can confirm the place is closed. He's upset because every person he's asked on the street has sided with the ICE deporting the illegals. I can't find anyone that seems to give an F about the people. Liberals are learning that they are the minority. Everyone wants illegal migrants raided and removed from our society. Nobody wants them gone more than legal immigrants. Actual immigrants, I should say. Nobody wants illegal aliens gone more than immigrants. Listen to this sad asshole.
Hey, I'm at Cilantro Taqueria, and I can confirm the place is closed. I can't say I've talked to anyone that knows any more than me. This is all based on social media posts. Did you guys hear?
Yeah, it's
I think I'm gonna sit here and just talk to people as they walk by and see if I can find anyone that seems to give a fuck about the people. So far, I'm batting 0-3. A couple of times I said, this is really bad. This is terrible. I don't like this at all. And people, one guy, he shrugged his shoulders and said, it's an unfortunate situation. Another guy said something like, well, don't do bad things. Somebody else was mad because they charged his credit card because they used their online system.
I was just trying to find some compassion out there. My favorite cilantro taquiera. I love it there. My tacos are gone. Imagine the cuisine. That's always what the liberals say. Oh, think about the cuisine that they're all going to be bringing here. Oh, Haitian cuisine. Oh, I love Kenyan cuisine. All they think everybody coming over the border is a fucking chef that's getting ready to open up a restaurant and tickle. I'm just happy that they're seeing. I heard that there's some ice spot nearby here. I'm not talking about the ice that's on the ground. I heard something. Now, I don't know, because I've seen some other things here, some crazy stuff. Another one from Wall Street Apes. Listen to this. Multiple development sites in Fort Worth, Texas, Forest Hill, are empty with no workers, only supervisor trucks, hiding from ICE raids and Border Patrol. This is where American jobs have gone, completely replaced with cheap illegal labor. This is my second construction site area I've been to, and there ain't nobody out here doing shit. You see two of the trucks down there. I think they're supervisors. Maybe they're trying to verify and see if ICE is going to come out. I ain't never seen this quiet before. This is crazy. Now take a look at this. It's 22 seconds, and then I want to add some thoughts to it because it's some things need to be said.
This is my second construction site area I've been to, and there ain't nobody out doing shit. Foundations is poured and all that. Nobody working. See two of the trucks down there, but I think they're supervisors. Maybe they're trying to verify and see if ICE is going to come out or what. I don't know what's going on, but I ain't never seen it this quiet before. This is crazy.
It is crazy. Now, we've had quite a bit of time to talk about where we are going as a country, the work ethic crisis that we have, the entitlement crisis that we have, which has kind of traversed several generations at this point. But I will tell you something else. Whereas there is plenty of jobs that Americans would be hesitant to go and apply for one reason or another, I'm sure of it. But not as many as you think. Because I know, it's anecdotal, in my life, 2 or 3 people off the top of my head who really tried going out there and getting themselves involved in local construction, local outdoors work, anywhere you think that would normally be the stereotypical place for day laborers and people who you would question their presence in the country, whether it would be legal or not, whether they have their papers, and if they're just, they become outposts, the kitchens of every restaurant, landscaping companies, things that usually deal in cash, day-to-day work on construction sites, whatever the hell it is, people who have mason, there's a lot of skilled labor out there that's just coming over the border, that's standing around looking for some kind of work, but still, those are the people you wish would go through the proper ports and put the paperwork in and come over here and get to work, because there's a lot of people looking for that kind of labor. No doubt about it. But there is also, again, just like with the people who are being sponsored and that were being catered to by our government at the border, instead of having the law enforced, there is also a coast-to-coast kind of initiative to help these people and protect their interests, non-citizen interests in the job market, in local job markets especially. And it blocks a lot of people out, especially if you are a white male. You are going to have a hard time, and you are having a hard time getting in anywhere. You know, they don't like outsiders. They feel like it's their domain. They don't want anything. They only want the. I'm telling you. So it's crazy to see this, that entire job sites are just vacated because I guess these employers are just using all foreign labor, which I just wonder how the hell is it? How are they getting paid? And what loopholes are they using? What loopholes have been created for them so that the foremen, the owners of these companies are not getting into any trouble, and they had at least an umbrella of protection to be able to do this for however long they've been doing it? I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, so much of it is not kosher. So much of it. Anyway, so there's a lot of that going on. There's more though. Every time I refresh on Twitter or GLP or something like that, there's another raid in New York City or somewhere else where they're taking out kidnappers, people who are guilty of accused of assault, burglary charges, of course, all of the gang activity. Those Venezuelan gangs, the people who set up the apartment building in Aurora, Colorado, they've been taken into custody, I believe, over here in New York City. Here he is. Ringleader behind Aurora, Colorado apartment building invasion arrested in New York City by ICE. He's probably hanging out at the Roosevelt Hotel, getting his feet massaged. You know, it's just incredible to me. I really hope we get to see results like this all over the place. I really do. And I'm sorry, but it's not cruel. It's not cruel for anybody thinking the way I'm thinking. I'm not giving myself any rationalization or anything like that too. Using these people as weapons against the United States is cruel, especially if you are an elected official who is, that enemy behind the gates now. You are the Trojan horse virus, okay? The NGOs, that's something completely different. I wonder what's going to happen to because if this is really a serious operation, where the hell? I can't wait to see what's going, because I've seen immigration offices getting raided. I've read about it. I've heard about it. People who have just been dealing, and they are just the legal face of human trafficking. But what about the NGOs? What about Catholic charities? These are front groups that deal in billions of dollars. They sometimes operate, and many times operate and deal directly with these coyote human trafficking types that are all gang members and drug traffickers themselves, abusers, rapists. Billions of dollars. Where does it all come from? Mostly us. But where else? It's all part of Gladio 2025. It's all part of Gladio, what we're talking about with Charlie Robinson a couple of weeks ago. So that's what I'm really interested in. When do we start hearing about the NGOs getting shut down, making their operation in the United States an illegal operation? It's nuts, because that's where that's where it's cruel. It's not cruel for anybody to see that your town has changed, your city has changed, it is not safe anymore. And the entire cultural makeup and political makeup has changed instantaneously. People who do not care about you, that are suddenly outnumbering you in many ways, that will do whatever to make sure that their tenuous position here is secured, and that the baby diapers keep showing up. So, I mean, it's treason, it's sedition, if you ask me. And it's also, in a humanitarian way, cruel, because they are the ones who rang the dinner bell and told people to come here. And they did it. They did it with the intention of knowing it was going to get this bad, and people were going to push back against it. And those people were going to be called racist and xenophobic. And then the people that they brought in now become human shields because, oh, look, take a picture of the woman crying, putting her head down on the pole, crying. The day after Donald Trump got elected, because the app got shut down, crying. 5 men with cameras around this one woman crying. Don't care. Don't care. So the only right thing to do is send them all back and say, and encourage them to come the right way. That's it. That's it. Here is, let me see here. This is one more groups being deported that were all part of, it was that easy. That's the other thing. This is what we were talking about before. And this is why no one should really even care about any of the deportations of however many millions that need to take place. It was allowed to happen. The last group of people who are in charge of things, they wanted our lives to become unaffordable, unsafe, and depressing. That's just it. Because look how easy this was. So that they could all turn around and gaslight you and call you a xenophobe and all that stuff. It's like that's why watching melodramatic troglodytes like Selena Gomez, I didn't even know who it was. I saw Selena Gomez crying. I didn't even know who it was because she has such an ugly cry face. Completely transformed her face. Like, what the fuck's wrong with her? Why is she crying? She just get some bad news about like a blood test? What is it? What happened to her? I was hoping for a good excuse. Because, and even then, why is she filming herself crying? Why do people do this? Especially women. Why are you all filming yourselves crying? Not you in the audience. You guys are saying you have no problems whatsoever. Why are you filming yourself having a mental episode? Regardless of what it is. Let me set it up. Let me set up the camera. Keep it going. Keep it going. She's crying because of what's happening to her people, she says, which is a lot to unpack right there. Whose people? What? My gosh, all the real pain being caused to your people and sending them all back and saying that those who had invested in their transplantation over here, those who had invested in transplanting them over here so that they can be used as a political and cultural weapon to destabilize things, they can no longer have their favorite playthings. Yes, you should cry over what has happened to your people. You should have been part of the messaging that said stay home, or even worse, President Scheinbaum. Mexico's President Claudia Scheinbaum condemns Donald Trump's attacks on immigrants and stresses the following. She's talking.
Pero que se oiga bien y que se oiga fuerte. Las y los mexicanos allá sostienen la economía de los Estados Unidos en el campo, en los servicios.
Yap, 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 yap. Ugh. The Mexicans there, the United States, the Mexicans there sustain the economy of the United States in the countryside, in services, everywhere. You cannot tell me that actual Mexicans made this woman president. Donald Trump is running away with the Latin vote over here in the United States, but everyone back in the old country voted for the yappy Jewish lady. Nah, didn't happen. It didn't happen, my friends. These things just don't happen. It just doesn't happen. Anyway, like I said, the Mexicans sustain the economy of the United States. Now, of course, she isn't, and we have you always, ladies and gentlemen, just control yourself here too, because this is all part of the plan. Okay? She's not differentiating between American citizens of Mexican descent and illegal aliens who are merely squatting here. But that is par for the course. That is par for the course with these con men and these con women. Okay? Because the more they say things like that, the more those of us who are getting a little bit more emotional about things and we start making a little bit more racist comments. We start feeling attacked. We start feeling, yeah, fuck you. They're trying to bring it out of you. Always remember, you have to do the differentiating because they want you to look like your worst version of yourself. All right? They want you to be the worst version of yourself at all times because then you are easy to attack and to frame up. Okay? Now, after a while, when it becomes a very, very easy choice of survival or not surviving, then that's something else, but you still have to keep your discernment. She's not differentiating between Americans who are of Mexican descent and illegal aliens who are just squatting here. But be that as it may, why isn't she calling millions of her citizens, okay, not American Mexicans, Americans of Mexican descent, whatever you want to call it, okay? Why isn't she calling back millions of her citizens who are here illegally and supposedly sustaining her next door neighbor when they could be making Mexico thrive? Why wouldn't you call them all back to their ancestral homes? Why aren't they all being given 10 acres and a mule? It makes no sense because she's a plant. She's just like everybody else. I mean, good Lord. Do you know what the Mexican government will provide you if you cross the border illegally and just start living your life over there? I'll tell you one thing. They ain't going to give you a hotel, rechargeable credit cards, and halal meals. They don't care if you only eat halal. You're going, I don't know, you're going back maybe after a while spent in a prison. I mean, seriously. And of course, that's the other thing there too. It's also a broad generalization to say Mexicans are making that whole damn country float. Because when you have millions of people coming over the border every day, those are people passing through Mexico. I'm sure that plenty of Mexicans have just taken advantage of it being right next door and hopped over the border, even if it's just to go to In-N-Out Burger for the afternoon or something. I don't know. But this is a plant. And it's very easy just to now say, to hell with you. To hell with you. Makes no sense. And you're just becoming funny. But it's not supposed to make sense, of course. And you know what? It's working on the people that it's meant to work on. Have you seen any screenshots? Any screenshots of the ICE raid freakouts that are happening on Reddit right now? You got to check some of them out. Follow our friend Libs of Reddit on Instagram. You got to check some of these out. These people don't even know. They don't even know that they don't know what's going on, which is the worst place to be in. It's a semi-enlightened place to be in, to know that you don't know. Okay? Now, we are essentially just a designated enemy for all things for these people, and their hive mind only really thinks in discriminatory terms. So like racism and any number of phobias is the only theory that they have of explaining you and I. When I was doing my coffee stream yesterday, we had a little bit of we had some oppositional voices in the chat. They, it stayed semi-respectful and all that stuff. But still, there's a lot of people out there who will fight tooth and nail to reject any logical reasoning for what we're trying to say because of the conditioning, the hive mind conditioning. The only explanation they have, the only theory they have for explaining you and I is isms and phobias. And it you know what? That projection doesn't work anymore. So everybody's got to calm down. Calm down. Take a deep breath and consider what perhaps you might not have been able to consider in the past. Okay? So let's take a really quick break. It's the halfway point. When we come back, I'm going to read your super chats. That's quitefranklysuperchat.com. We are not monetized on YouTube, so if you want to send some kind of message to the show that will be read on air, a shout out, a joke, anything, send it to quitefranklysuperchat.com. I'll make sure that we can get some more lower thirds and things like that on the screen. We'll get all that filled in. Or Rumble rants, all of you on Rumble. I want to read some Rumble rants from you guys, and we're going to get to the gold pills on quitefrankly.tv, powered by Pilled. and then your calls. Your calls and, of course, all the personal updates over here, because I have more questions for you guys, not only just news related, but personal. We're going to go open lines in the second half. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be fun time.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button.
Entering, quite frankly.
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 Quite frankly, guys.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
So everybody watch. Quite frankly. Frank.
Yeah. Be place in a little town. The only way to get there is to go straight down.
Yeah, you know it. You know it. 1995, baby. They were only 15.
This very detector.
If you know this Silverchair song, of course their big breakout hit, then you know that there was two versions of this music video. There's like an Australian cut and then there's an American cut. And for a long time you couldn't find the old American cut that we used to get on MTV. The one where the guy with the pig mask, all that stuff. You couldn't find it. I just found it the other day. Put this in the winter mix. Yeah. I showed this to Aurora the other day. She liked it. We just kind of we just driving around, listening to music. Man, she's got some good variety in her playlist already. All right, let's see what the hell's going on in these super chats. Jay Semo over on Rumble says, great show as usual. I grew up in Westchester, Tarrytown, so I understand what overdevelopment has done. Hopefully the city will make the right decision. Oh, okay, so then you know what I'm about to talk about then, don't do you? We'll get to that in just a second. Let's see here. Over on, quite frankly, superchat.com, Brother Zoe. Zoso, did you send three duplicate ones? Tell me if you get charged for all these three, please, and I'll send two of them back. Brother Zoso dude says we need to send King 40 to the White House press corps to represent Quite Frankly and ask questions. Oh gosh, that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. Because especially when, like, you know, if he puts his reading glasses on. Yeah, you, the broad there, I want to ask you something. I would love to see. Well, if he's like acting all like studious. Oh, that would be great. Oh, God, this would be so great. If it really is like that big of an opportunity that we can actually seize, that would be great. Over 4 years, we got to be able to get in there at least once. I'll drive down there. That would be so nice. I'll stream the whole way down. Anyway, Larkstar. Wow, Lark, thank you so much for the tip. It really is awesome. Awesome to have you here. Frank, another great show. Take my money. No tax on tips. Here's a little bit to show my appreciation for your dedication and desire to keep us sane. Lots of love to you and your fabulous fans. Well, you guys help keep me really, really focused. You guys, of course, Lauren and Aurora. Oh, so good. It's a good thing, and I'm glad to be here. Jay Britt says, hey, Frank, Dan Scavino posted on Truth today. ICE deported 7,300 illegals in Trump's first week. Get it done, Daddy. Well, then we got to find a way to make it 7,000 a day. We got to make it. You have to find a way. And you know what the biggest thing is? self-deportation numbers will be staggering if we can get ourselves financially corrected. If we can correct ourselves financially, then it is going to be a staggering self-deportation because there's not going to be nothing left. Good luck to California and everybody else to be able to keep up all of these programs that are being subsidized by a lot of the block grants that they're just skimming off of the top and repurposing all the monies for, at the detriment of supposedly, the lightning fast rail systems and their dams and their irrigation systems and all that stuff. No, to hell with that. I don't have any, I have no doubt in my mind that would help speed up the process a little bit more. Get right, get constitutional. What else do we have? Let's see here. 9142. Oh, hold on. No, that's later on. All right. So here's a little something for you. Now, last night I told you that I was going to a town hall meeting over here in my village because this place had a public notice sign on it. Our studio building, public notice sign that there was plans in place that was being proposed to turn portions of the building into multi-use spaces and all that stuff, housing, residential. I said, oh no. And after a couple of weeks of, they said it was going to be January 27th. You can go to Village Hall and sit in on it. I was on the, they broadcast that for the whole town to watch as well. So I was watching for this date. In the weeks leading up to the date, I kept talking to building management. Hey, what's going on with this? Are we safe? Are we out of the zone? And what I was told was that we're on the side of the building that is going to be preserved, and it's the back end of the building that's going to be worked with, and that gave me a little bit of confidence to work and whatever, and feel like we were going to be out of the crosshairs here. When Anthony and I went to this village meeting last night, and we were the only two people there. Oh, no. There was one other woman, very nice lady that we met when we moved in here 10 years ago. She's an artist. She's around the corner. And another guy who's not a tenant in this building, but just lives in the neighborhood and doesn't want to see any more construction disrupt everything around here. This town we are a 2 square mile village. We have been completely overdeveloped over the last 10, 15 years, whatever. These giant beehive buildings are going up all over the place, popping up like tumors all over the place. We've got this terrible, it's strange because when I was on, I got to get up and say my piece last night. I guess I could just save that for a second because let me get to the point. The point is what Anthony and I witnessed in a nearly empty room with only one other tenant there and another interested body was that they were going and still would like to take this entire building down, raise it to the ground. And the one thing that they were going to, the one bone that they were throwing to the town over here is that the front facade, the edifice of the building, they were going to keep that intact because it's just so local. It's local history. No, the building's local history. The building's a historic building, and it's very, very well maintained. And because of all these damn, residential buildings, these housing projects that are popping up all over the place, mostly for just young professionals, they're turning this small town that had a lot of character, had a lot of great things going on, had just a long. Everybody knew each other. Most people were related. No, it wasn't like inbred or anything like that. But I'm just saying. There's a certain kind of gentrification that's going on here that is really aimed at the middle class now. And with all of the housing that's going up around this place, this building was actually becoming more and more unique in the way that it provided a place for people to actually come here and start a business, to bring commercial interest into the town. And there's some pretty interesting things that go on in this building. Aside from me and Anthony's operation, I mean, you just think about this one suite right here. We reach millions of people with different forms of content. And that's all quietly going on in town. And the trend in our town is that these big housing projects are going up, these lofts and studio apartments, and they're all high rise and they're all, really fancy and shit like that. $3,000 a month for a studio apartment just for young bachelors, couples who don't have any children, who work in the city and want to be right next to the Metro North line to jump into Grand Central and go to work every day. So it's not really about creating people who live here or adding anything to the town. I don't know who's making out with it, because we have the traffic. And I told the village council last night, I said, we have this trend in our town right now that's very odd, because I feel like it's a Potemkin village. There's all these ridiculous buildings going up. We have the traffic congestion, but I don't see any signs that these buildings are anywhere near capacity. What the hell are they going up for? And now what they wanted to do to this building is insane. I think this is only like a 4-story building, and they wanted to turn it into this beehive telescoping sandcastle kind of a thing that goes up another 12 stories and shit like that. And there's a pool in the courtyard, and there's all the. I said, what the fuck? I looked at it. I told Anthony, I said, they're taking the whole damn building down. So at that point, I said, I better say something, because at this point, what does it matter? And I told them, I said, I have professional interest here. I know a lot of people do, even though we're the only ones that showed up. And from that point on, the trustees, they actually became a lot more vocal about their concerns for displacement of commercial properties, displacement of people who are not just, it's one thing to say, well, there's an apartment building going up over there where people can live, and some of it is affordable housing, some of it is subsidized, whatever the hell it is. It's another thing to say that here is a building that already exists. It's where people are making money so that they can afford where they live, that they can afford to pay their bills at home. And you want to get all that, will turn all that away, so there's just more places for people to live while they get on a train to go work in Manhattan. Why not? So put that all out there. And of course, like most things in life, you say a few things, you sit down, you think of 10 other things you wanted to say. So it was a little bit of a deflating night. But then what happened was, I came home, I told Lauren what was going on, I was talking to Anthony a little bit more because we went together. We just kept talking. And then I got ready for the 9 o'clock book club. And I'm sitting there in Studio B, and it's the cozy little tight quarters over there. But at that time, a little peace came over me, because this is if you consider our bedrooms in 2006 until 2009, this is our third studio location. The first studio location, we thought that we were going to be there forever. Then all of a sudden, we realized that it was a fire trap, and it was condemned. Now we've been here for 10 years, and the thought of leaving is daunting just because of the physical work, not because I don't believe that if we had to leave, there wouldn't be a place that would be even better that we can make right, or a place that we can even buy, a standing structure that me, Anthony, and perhaps another business owning friend of ours as well, just say, hey, you know what? Let's find a small building to buy that will never kick ourselves out of. I don't know. So it was just daunting to think about having to do all this, especially with the redecorating that's been going on. And I just, I'm not done with this place yet. I don't want to retire in New York. I'd always like to keep New York in my life somehow, but I'm not done with this place yet. I don't feel done. But when I got home, there was a certain peace that came over me when I started the 9 o'clock book club, because I was talking to everybody at home. I saw everybody showed up, and the microphone was working, and the show will go on no matter what. And that's just fine. Whatever the hell we have to do to make things work, it'll be fine. And just kind of rested in that a little bit more. And then today happened where I sent the word around to some of our other friends in the building. I said, hey, number one, February 24th, you got to get to the next town council meeting. Number one. So February 24th, I won't be on air. Maybe. Unless they pull the whole thing. Because what happened was, when the news got around the news got around. A couple of our friends went up to the building management to say, hey, you told me a certain thing, which this is what the building manager was telling us. I know we're dishing. It's all the private stuff right now. The building manager told me, well, no, first of all, whatever this is, if anything does happen, we're talking years down the line. Don't worry about it. And all the owner wants to do is make sure that he's able to get permits to do something to the building here. In the case that when he does sell, he can give it to a developer who has options to do something with the building, to turn it into something else. And he wants to be able to have the permits in place before the town puts a development moratorium in place, which I wish happened a decade ago. But when I saw how empty the room was and how there was nobody there who cared at all to voice opinions about one thing or another, I realized why the town was in such dire straits, and myself included, because it didn't affect me. And then all of a sudden it did. And I didn't even know how these town council meetings worked. So a little bit of a learning curve for me last night. Anyway, we were told that was going on. But when me and Anthony went to the meeting, the architects representing ownership, they were not looking for a permit. They had everything mapped out. We saw the floor plans. We saw everything. We saw the 3D AI renderings of the place. They were going through sheets and sheets and sheets of presentations and everything else that they had in order. All the environmental testing that they had lined up, shit like that. Said, you just wanted a permit? This was fully planned. To get a team of architects together to do that takes money and intent, and you're not looking to wait. You're looking to act now. So I don't know if building management was just running cover or what. But when some of our friends went there to ask her about that, they said, hey, we were at the meeting last night, and what the hell's going on? Apparently, and we have to confirm this, the building management told one of our neighbors over here and good friends that, well, listen, if anything did happen, it would be long, long down the line. But I'll tell you right now, I just got a call from the ownership, and they said they're pulling the plug on the whole thing, that it's just too much of a headache because of all of the resistance. And I said, okay, what was the resistance? Me? I mean, obviously it's my opinion, and my opinion spurred a little bit more resistance from a couple of trustees who became very, very intent on making sure that there were provisions in all of the plans for this building that would have some sort of protections for those who are being displaced. And they don't give a shit about the displaced artists and photographers and engineers and graphic designers and a taekwondo school, a boxing club, a broadcaster and a music producer. They don't care about people like that. They don't give a shit. They're looking at a gigantic project that could be sold for at least $75 million to $100 million. That can turn a $13 million plot into something that's at least $50 to $75 million, and then they can get out of town. And then we have to live with this monstrosity in the center of our village for all time. That's all that was. And I don't know, and like I said, we'll see if this is really something that has been abandoned. If the public notice signs come down, if the February 24th meeting is taken off the docket, or if they're going to keep it on the docket so they can just publicly, officially withdraw the plans and all that stuff. I don't know. But we'll see. So for the next couple of weeks, we'll just keep showing up here at work, no matter what, with the intent that we'll be here for still a long time. And I'll keep you up to date. And also on February 24th, I will also share with you the live link so that everybody can watch what is going on if I do, if there is reason to go up there and amend the thoughts that I left last night on the public record. Because I already have a few paragraphs written and prepared to take this to the next level if I have to go say something again, and hopefully other people join me. And I will be knocking on tenants' doors to make sure that they are there on the 24th. But I wanted to let you know, because it wasn't just a night off last night. It was pretty daunting, because I woke up this morning and part of my morning routine now included looking at any kind of office spaces that were in a 5-mile radius that would be worthy of me and Anthony going and taking a tour of. And I hate that process. I fucking hate it. So just letting you all know. And now here's my question to you. Has your town been ruined by overdevelopment? Did your little town used to have charm and identity and it has been in some way screwed with? I mean, there's a lot of weird things going on over here. All of Main Street has been taken down. Some of it very conveniently caught on fire after it all was abandoned. There's a lot of weird shit going on. I don't know what's going on in this town. But what was being proposed for here, I really hope that it goes away. Because this is a unique building. I would love to see it beautified, restored in some way, but it's in great shape. Anyway, I don't know. It's tough for me to articulate, especially in that setting, what I really feel of what's going on, because this is a form of gentrification that's going on all over the country, I believe. I understand, there's stories like Brooklyn, New York. You have these low-income neighborhoods, black, white, Hispanic, whatever, these mixed neighborhoods that are low income, a little bit dumpy, whatever. And then you have these big developers that come in and they displace a lot of people because they want to rejuvenate the entire neighborhood. They want to bring in new business. They want to bring in new housing. And they try not to displace people, but at the same time, it's just like, what are you going to do? You got to be cold. You got to be calculating sometimes. I understand that, but there's something going on. Now, I don't know who is funding the whole thing. Ownership, I think he's just a local Italian guy. I don't know which banks they're looking for financing from. It was interesting last night. The architect said something to the town council about how time is of the essence because no banks are giving any money for commercial development. That's what they said. And I want to ask for clarity on that next time we get together, if this indeed still stays on the docket. Because that goes hand, I was thinking, okay, well, this is just a local disturbance, something that is not really part of any greater narrative. But now I'm thinking, I want to know more about what they meant by that. And who are the lenders that are not giving any money for anything that is commercial and only residential, mixed-use residential places. Because that goes hand in hand with all the BlackRock and Vanguard stuff that we were talking about with the whole nation of renters thing. I mean, that's the real thing. Ownership, property ownership of a business. There's nothing more American than that. And the fact that, towns like this have been overdeveloped now to try to jam in as much overpriced studio apartment housing as possible for people to just rent to no end and not own. That's something I think is worth a little bit of investigation. So we'll see what happens with there. But I want to know your stories. Aside from anything that we talked about in the first half, what do you think about the news today? We'll do that when we come back from this quick break. 914-200-0269. 914-200-0269. I want to hear from you about small towns losing their small town charm and anything else that you think that goes hand in glove with what we're dealing with over here. I hope it goes away because I love broadcasting to you here every night. And there's more that I want to do in the music room. We're just starting to get the music kicked back up again. We're coming back in a second. Don't go anywhere.
We have new information now also on the plane crash. KTVU has just learned the names of the 4 pilots who were on board the flight. They are Captain Sum Ting Wong, Wee Tu Lo, Ho Lee Fook, and Bang Ding Ao. The NTSB has confirmed these are the names of the pilots on board Flight 214 when it crashed. We are working to determine exactly what roles each of them played during the landing on Saturday.
Howdy, friend. You looking for a message board? Go to quitefrankly.tv and enter the forum. Engage with official show topic threads or start your own thread. Get signed up. It's that easy. And it's not Reddit, so don't sweat it. For the forum and so much more, it's quitefrankly.tv. Yeehaw.
Oh, man. Why'd I get mixed up with that bitch?
Because she got a great ass! And you got your head all the way up it! Jesus. Ferocious, aren't I? When I think of asses, woman's ass, something comes out of me.
What do I do, Lord? Destroy the child. Corrupt them all. This is their plan, people. These are demons.
And buck the system and the group collective. Do that, and you'll earn your way to the next level. This is the Info War.
I came knocking on your door 1,000,000 times, and you laughed at me. And more blood. Basically, space aliens. I'm an explorer. I'm a human, and I'm coming. And I'm not gonna go along with it. A Götterdämmerung battle.
$612, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank, it's Carly Tebbs.
Hey, Carly.
It's, hi.
Good to have you on.
God, can you hear me okay?
I can. Go ahead.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, man, I don't know what it is, but every time I dial your phone number and I start waiting for you to pick up, my heart starts pounding, and I feel all retarded inside, and I don't know what that's about. But nonetheless.
It's very normal. I feel like that. I feel like that every night.
Oh, you do? That explains a lot, Frank, actually.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. What I wanted to call and say that at least here in Minnesota, my little town is being preserved well. But what I wanted to share with you about the ICE stuff.
Yeah.
So I work at a Christian academy, and people in our community in Minneapolis are freaking out. It is so bizarre. It's like a mind virus, or I've seen messages from parents like, oh, if ICE comes in with their guns to raid and round up the children, or what happens if the children go home and their parents have been deported to Guatemala? And it is so over the top, Frank, that I don't even know what to say to them. I was asking one of my coworkers today who was going on and on about it. And I just said, don't we verify the children's identity when they get enrolled in the school? Because my daughter goes to this school. I had to verify her identity.
What'd they say?
She said, well, but if they come from another country and we get a birth certificate from another country, how do we validate that that's real? I thought that's a very good question.
Wait a second.
Don't you think we should have systems for that on the front end? Because
wouldn't that be a red flag?
Don't you think? But we take them in anyway, and then when things like this happen every 4 years, because the winds are just whipping and blowing and changing, then we're all reactionary and acting like we're victims of the choices we made. And I'm just like, this is so insane. And, we're a Christian academy, and a lot of these people, they mean really, really well. Like, I'm not going to be the person to say, oh, all these liberal retards. No, I'm not saying that liberals don't act like that, but they mean well. They're like legitimately concerned for the children. I get it, right? Because the fantasy in their head is that the feds are going to come in with their paddy wagons and their AK-47s and start blasting all the children and back to Guatemala. So they're terrified. And I'm thinking to myself, they're talking about funding. You know how the government was like, we're not funding grants for this and that and the next thing anymore. Well, they're thinking that nobody's getting any money in the school, and we don't even get federal funding as a Christian academy. We are disbarred from any federal funding. The hysteria is so over the top, Frank. And I just feel bad for people because I'm like, it's traumatizing. Because they're so dissociated from reality that they really think this stuff is going to happen.
But to their point though, Carly, once you make your way down the priority checklist, eventually you're just going to have to. There's going to have to be something to be done with people who are just here, and they. The other thing there too is something that most people don't know is that it's such a huge. Before the borders were just simply opened, the greatest thing that contributed to illegal immigration was visa overstays. And I mean, that's just so simple. That right there, I mean, that is something that's logged in the system. Those visas are attached to people who have verified identities. You need to go and rectify that. And then after that, I mean, what are you going to do? There needs to be standards somewhere that just forces people to require schools to require proof of citizenship. We need to start. We need to have citizenship as a very specific metric in our census again. The fact that there has been such an effort from the top down to make, and thank you for the call, Carl. I have to take a couple more calls. There's been such an effort from the top down to make sure that everybody has been heaped into the same barrel with no way to there's no distinguishing anybody from the person next to them. And it even becomes illegal or at least frowned upon to even ask about something like citizenship. That's just about making years go by so that people are invested in communities, so that it becomes more and more of a painful political hot potato game. That's what it's really all about. 5 to 10 years goes by. Two couples who are non-citizens that snuck over here and had a child. That kid is in, 4th grade now. They've got 10 years under their belt. They've been in American schools. They speak English. All they know is American pop culture. All their friends are here. I mean, that is the cruel aspect of it. The fact that any political group of political organizations, including the Democrat Party spearheading it all, and all their NGO friends, and to a large degree, even Republicans, GOP Republicans, those border state Republicans, again, the faith-based charities and all that stuff. You want to talk about cruel? They knew that this was coming down the line. They knew that if this country really started feeling the squeeze and people started properly identifying so much of where the economic pressure and everything else was coming from, that the open border and everything, how their communities were changing and everything was changing. And then as problems started getting worse and worse, especially with crime, when people start seeing, it's one thing to say, man, groceries are going up. Man, my son is a minority in his own school, in his own town. Where the hell did all these people come from? Nobody speaks English. Why is half of the school suddenly Haitian over here in Ohio? Like, that's one thing to start realizing that. Another thing is that when the culture clash comes into frame and people are being assaulted, and when there's any kind of crime going on, gang activity, fraud, whatever the hell it is, and when the crime is not reported on, or people start getting gaslit as far as where the crime is coming from and what the hell is actually going on, that is when it starts becoming untenable for them to manage in the media. And that's when they start losing it. That's why a lot of people voted for Donald Trump who never would on illegal immigration, because it's too much, too fast. They tried going for the goal, and I hope that there is a reversal. And you can say, okay, but what about those innocent families who aren't making any trouble? I don't know, my friend. I don't know. If you got all of the felons out of here, if you got all the new arrivals, if you emptied all of the hotels in New York, all of the camps, all of the resettlement camps, you got to find them all. You got to send them back. Everybody that came here in the last few years, especially back. That's millions right there. People in prisons, back, as long as they're going to be locked up somewhere else. You have to cut off all financial reasons for being here. You have to require citizenship proof for every kind of means-tested program, education on a local level, anything that gets federal money for as long as the Department of Education is still a thing. I mean, that's it, I'm telling you. And you have to be just kind of cold about it. You have to. You have to. Because there are ways to becoming American, and I hope that they all just start doing it. Now, is there some kind of an offer at the end for I don't know, I would not be surprised if Donald Trump sat down with some Democrat contingent, and devised some kind of pathway to citizenship for some portion of the people who are here. I wouldn't be surprised. But what portion is that, and how long is that pathway? They cannot be voting for at least 15 years. Can't vote for at least 15 years. Can't have any felonies, nothing. I don't know with how, you guys probably have really great ideas too. Send them my way. I just know what needs to start happening right now and what needs to accelerate. So who knows? Should be good. But it's top down when you see how they spend no time in trying to differentiate between people, that the federal government, that any government would be behind an initiative to not want to understand how many people that are living in the country are actually citizens of your country. The fact that a government would be behind an initiative to leave that out of their census is insane. There's very, very powerful special interests behind moves like that because it has nothing that nobody who cares for their nation would sign up for something like that. None. They don't care about it. All right, let's take a call. 815, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank, how are you?
I'm doing well. Go ahead.
Hey, so I'm calling in regards to the ICE situation.
Yeah.
I've just spent 3 years working in a factory where I was the minority as an American and as a white person. And I know a lot of us were very frustrated with our job. It was very hard to do our job. And the company, I don't even know how they really stayed open because, and I don't know if it's like language barrier or education level. There's a lot of like theories that people would kick around, but there were so many errors being made, like it was costing the company like tens of thousands of dollars a day. And, even some of the more like progressive liberal people that I worked with would even complain about how they were frustrated because, why couldn't they just learn English at the very least, so we could all do our jobs? And I witnessed a lot of bullying. Like if a black person would come in or white person, whoever, American would come in, like they would gang up and like basically make it so miserable on the person they would just leave and they wouldn't come back. What you're describing right there is a very real experience that I've had several friends express to me just over the last couple of years, them trying to change employment, just wanting to get into different types of work. Some of them that want to work outside. One wanted to be an arborist, so they hooked on with some landscaping companies to try to get in the door that way, and that is the resistance that they encountered. Yeah, it's crazy, and I'm disgusted by it when I found out they use like dead baby and dead people's like social security numbers to come through. Like I worked with people, it wasn't even their real name I was working with, and they come through temp agencies and they'll stay on as temps. Because then if they go on like permanent, then it like flags them. So it's just all these different ways that they find to get in, and it sucks. And especially both what we've gone through over the last like 3 or 4 years, going to work every day, being the minority, like in your own country, like, you know what I mean? You're going to your job in your own country and you're the minority and you.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Go, keep going.
No, like what they're being used as, and what the like modus operandi is. It's like, it's depressing, and you go through all these emotions, like, and every day it's in your face. It's in your face. You have this constant reminder, and I'm sorry, but they are racist. I encountered
a lady from Nicaragua that I was really surprised she got deported, but it was every day. She's just nasty.
And when you say that, and again, thank you for the call, because I'm telling you, this is I know that there's something to be said about how entitled Americans are. There's different shades of that, different grades of that across generations, but there are, to say that, all the jobs that these people are occupying right now in construction and in agriculture and this and that, Americans don't want those jobs. That's an outright lie. That is not, you cannot broad stroke that at all. There is an incredible blocking of native, and I call us, we are Native Americans now. If you've been here for at least a couple generations, you're native to this country. If you're a citizen, you're native to this country. There has been a big time barricade that has been put up, and it has a racial aspect to it. It also has a citizenship aspect to it. So I'm glad you brought it up, and thank you for calling.
Thanks, Frank. Have a good night. Good
Yeah.
luck.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Real quick, I have to address something in the YouTube chat that I wouldn't address normally because it's very rare I have time to look in there. But also, it's because this person who's watched the show for a long time, Dan just freaked out, and he said, Frank just blocked my number. What a pussy. And then, of course, he went on to put a curse on the show. Put a curse on the show and then left. I have never blocked a number in my life. So I don't know what Dan's going through tonight. I'm sorry that he's going through it, but that is absolutely ridiculous. So I just had to put that out there. Never seen anything like that. Now, I don't take unlisted blocked numbers, but I don't see any blocked numbers that came in tonight, so I don't know what anybody's talking about. And I'm sorry that was your experience tonight. Moving on. All right, 732, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Frank, how's it going?
How are you, my friend?
Doing well. Chris in the Berkshires.
Yes, absolutely. I always know it's Chris because James pops up.
Well, credit to my father on that one, I guess. But,
okay.
either way, great show as always, and it's been some time. I think the last time we talked was Election Day, so a lot of things happening since then. So that's a good thing. But
Quite a bit.
This is definitely a topic that hits close to home for me. Where I grew up has been completely remodeled and basically taken over, and on top of that, for 20 years of my life, from basically right after high school until recently, I worked in the construction field, and I was 100% the minority. It was absolutely mind-boggling. And watching kids come out of high school who were basically, you start making, you're on the lower end, and then you work your way up. I was making like $25 an hour or something, like when I stopped doing that line of work. And I was paying taxes, so I'm taking $40. 40% of my paycheck is basically gone right off the top. And these guys were all working with us. They're making cash. They're making $15, $16, $17 an hour, but they're all making cash. And they're living better than you because they're not paying the taxes. They're not paying for the health care. They rent a small family unit with 3 bedrooms. Each unit lives together, and they're splitting it evenly, where they're basically making $1,000 a week tax-free in straight cash. And to watch kids come out of high school who are trying to make their way, and, like I said, you're starting at $15, but it's being taxed. So from making, say, $800 a week to now you're making $450 because half of it's being taxed out, it's impossible for a person coming out of high school to even consider to try to survive in that way.
Oh, I know.
When unfortunately, and I got along great with a lot of these guys. I'll be the first to say it. I got plenty of friends who were Hispanic, when I worked in that line of work, and still to this day. But it was incredibly frustrating to see me trying to work and get myself ahead while I'm losing 40%, and they're doing better than me on essentially far less money. It was mind-boggling.
Do you have any insight? Do you have any insight into for example, we were watching that short video of that construction site. I don't know if it was in Texas or wherever the hell it was, that was totally empty, which would insinuate that the majority of the construction crew were people that were non-citizens. What is there any kind of special program? How are those people being paid? How is the business able to account for the labor and the job being even completed if they don't have anybody even on the books as being employed? So there has to be a way that businesses that have workforces that are not American citizens that are able to skirt law or to stay under the radar. I just can't. It's one thing to say, okay, I'm a private contractor, I do small jobs, and I'm taking on an assistant, and I know this day laborer who's a really good guy. He does plumbing, he does masonry and all that stuff, and I can pay him under the table, and nobody would be the wiser. But if you've got an actual construction site that was that big, that everybody has fled, which means that most of them are probably here under dubious circumstances or whatever the hell else. How the hell is a business even doing that? Like, what is the shield for that?
So what I saw a lot of when I did it, and I'm still relatively fresh out of the business, so I could say this. I've seen it recently. You have the owner, right? The owner of the company, whatever the company is, whether it's roofing or a full-blown construction company. And then what you have is his foreman and his couple like key guys. So he'll pay 4 to 5 guys to run the show on the books, living wages, things like that. And then what they'll do is they'll bring in, so for like a roofing company, they'll bring in 10 guys, and what they were doing up in where I live now was they would bring in like 10 Guatemalans and just pay them cash under the table. But the books would see it as the foreman, the second guy in command, and the other guy in command were basically we're basically seen as the roofers, right? They're going to be the guy that's doing the roofing, when in reality, all they would do is show up to the job site, look at it, say it's okay, that looks like it's good, it's done, we're good here.
Okay.
The company would take the money and take the check. The owner would cash the check, put it in his account, and then every month or every week or so, he would deduct, say, just a rough number, $10,000.
Okay.
And then pay everybody out.
And listen, and you know what? And Chris, thank you for the call, because this really has set me on another path of questioning that I'd like to open up to the rest of the audience.
One point. Can I say one thing?
Yeah, correct.
Long live King 40. Get dressed, you're going, is the greatest comment I think I've ever heard when he was talking about Michelle not going to the fucking thing. I'm sorry, totally off topic.
I know.
But I swear I laugh about it constantly. It's hysterical.
You know what? If you can do me a favor, go into that episode, and can you please find me the timestamp of it, send it to me in email so I can clip it?
Dude, 100%.
Okay.
I will make that my personal mission tomorrow.
Okay.
Get dressed. You're going. It's the funniest thing I've ever
Get dressed. All right. Well, thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Take it easy, Frank. Thank you.
Okay. Take care. You're the first person I thought about here. Anybody in construction. We got 10 minutes, but I'm thinking about Zoso, dude. I can imagine that people who are out there who don't do it themselves know how other people do it. Because even what Chris just said right there, you get the guys to do the roof, you give them the cash. When you pay the bill on the invoice, the labor is really accredited to the owner of the business, the foreman, like 2 guys. But when I'm talking about larger crews, what about a larger crew? Let's take a couple more calls. Let me go. 302, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Hi there, Frank.
Hey.
Hi, this is Julia. I wrote the Death of the American Dream that you have posted on your blog.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
This is a passion. I'm so sorry to cut you off. What did you say?
No, I said thank you so much for your contribution. I love it. So go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
This is my passion project of figuring out what is going on. I live in the Carolinas. I've lived in the Carolinas since 2009. I've always lived on the East Coast. If you drive from the Carolinas up to Boston, everything is for sale. And I wanted to know why. And this is why I I dig. I wrote that article. I sent it to you because everything you're talking about, everything that people are calling in, I figured it out. Like,
okay.
we have to understand, and I know this is going to be hard for people to swallow, we are no longer 50 states. People have to understand that. The debt clock, what is that? Who are we in debt to? What is going on? What is happening? Why is everything for sale? Who is selling it? So in the article, I started breaking down BlackRock and Vanguard. It started with the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis, but it goes before that. Sorry, I'm very nervous.
It's okay. And everybody, this is Julia. I forget.
Julia DeMandelpratt.
That's right.
Is my handle name to protect myself.
I'll get it up on the screen right now because it's over there on the floor. You go to quitefrankly.tv, you go to articles, and then you hit the blog, and it's the theft of the American dream. Here it is right here. It's right up on quitefrankly.tv. You go to articles, and then it'll drop down. Articles will drop down into newsletters, and then the blog. And it's the last, the most recent one from October of 2024 by Julia. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. Thank you. This research is a passion project for me because I want to know why everything's for sale. Who is selling it and why?
Okay.
Why is it all housing? Why is it no infrastructure? Why is it no jobs? What is going on? It's BlackRock. It's like, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but it's BlackRock and Vanguard. Yes, there's lots of, side companies, the Blackstone and all that, blah, 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 blah. It boils down, it's two main companies. They are buying everything. They own everything. So it's a way to purchase things and restructure America. How are they going to implement the new 15-minute cities? It's not this fancy project that you see that's being built in, Saudi Arabia and, coming, LA in 2028. They can make 15-minute cities by gridlock. They're not building up infrastructure. They're not building up, private homes. That's another thing. Sorry, I took notes. The main way they're going to do this is rezoning laws, which there's an amazing video, and I can send it. God, it's Rosa something, but she was into like rezoning laws, and she has amazing talks about this.
You're talking about the opportunity. You're talking about opportunity zones as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I
what they're doing,
learned a lot about that from Catherine Austin Fitz. But listen, Julia, we're coming up on the end here. So try to get to. I want people to read your blog. Try to get to a nice tight conclusion on this real quick because I want to take at least two more calls on the actual the labor situation on all of these construction sites and how that it's actually pulled off. So bring us home real quick.
So read the article first. It just sets up structure one of understanding who and why who owns everything. It's private investors, foreign investors buying everything. States have been sold off to pay off debt. And once you understand that it's no longer in the benefit of having private homes, because again, we're under communism or socialism. The private family is now a threat to climate, whatever they're saying. So they're selling off everything to literally build us into these little hives so we can't leave. And I know I'm not wrapping that up right.
No.
I have way too many notes. I'm way too nervous. But
no.
Start with article. I'm going to send more. I'm just, things are just crazy. But
you're doing just fine. And the fact that you already have something published on the website is great. And it goes hand in hand with my story and my question.
Yes.
My main question about the studio. Now, like I said, the one thing that made me say, okay, listen, this is a local disturbance. It's affecting us personally over here. I have to look into it because I know ownership is not part of some gigantic group, and I understand that he just probably wants to be able to make this a little bit more a little bit more valuable so that he can sell it and pad his retirement and all that other stuff. But it didn't become potentially bigger than a local story for me, this building at least, because all the other buildings I have questions about. Who the hell's making money off of them? I bet because the occupancy looks so low, but these buildings keep popping up. And of course, it's all about renting, and it's pushing away all of the middle class people who have been here for generations with their retirements into other states. So I see what you're saying.
On purpose.
I know it goes right into that nation of renters idea where you're not owning anything and everything is on layaway forever.
And you hit the nail on the head earlier when you said it's the tearing down of the middle class. You're taking out single family homes. Anybody with, that doesn't make $100,000 plus a year, you're being destroyed on purpose.
Yeah.
Everything being built in my current area is 800,000 plus. I mean, I've never seen signs for $2 million houses before. I'm like, what is this? Who can afford this? The answer is not Americans. Flat out, it's not Americans. It's foreign investors. People that think that they make $300,000 a year think they make hot shit money. That's nothing. The globalists make that wiping their ass.
Well,
so we have to understand that American wealth, or what we grew up thinking, doesn't exist. It's all being restructured. It's being sold off to pay off debt to the globalists. Everything is for sale. California, and that's another thing, Frank, in New York specifically, New York is done. I do corporate paperwork for a large corporation. New York specifically operates as a completely separate state. It's not a state. California's not a state. New York's not a state. Vermont's not a state. Ohio goes on and on and on. And most people do not even realize we're barely a United States of America. Barely. I mean, it's dangling.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I could be all over the place. I took notes trying to call in, but it's such a big topic, and I'm sorry, I'm so nervous.
No, hey, listen, if you're nervous, it doesn't show because you're doing very well. And again, I'm loving that you've already got something published with us, and we're gonna expand on this. Thank you for the call, Julie. I really seriously.
Of course, thank you for taking my call. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you, and the nation of renters thing. Oh man, what the hell? There's something she said at the end that was so spot on too. She said a lot that was spot on. It's becoming so out of reach. So out of reach. It's just nuts. We're gonna have to expand on that. Now, I would love to see if there's anybody. We got 3 minutes. You know what? Let me get to some super chats. And I want to figure out what the hell is happening here with the with all the other stuff, with all the things, the workers that are on the construction sites and all that we were talking about before. It's one thing to pick up a day laborer in the morning to help you go do a small little odd job, install an air conditioner or something. But these giant work sites that are now abandoned because they're afraid there might be an ICE raid. How does that fly? How was that flying? Where was the cover coming from? Was there a program? I mean, if you're cooking the books, that is a lot of cooking. You know what? Let me take this call. I see a call coming in. And I think Zoso dude.
Yeah, but sorry, man. Let me turn the stream down in the background. Sorry about that, brother.
Okay, so
I mean, I was an extraordinarily successful contractor in Hollywood. Okay, for 5-6 years, I killed it as good as a guy could do in the height of the what she was just talking about. 08, 09, the bubble, the housing bubble. Because I did good work at an honest price, I killed it. But after that rough patch settled, everybody and their dog, by like 2011, everybody and their dog went out and got contractors' licenses. And I'm not kidding you, Frank. I was above board. I was insured to $5 million on I had a workman's comp for all of my guys. If anybody ever got hurt, they were covered. I was above board. But my competitors, I would go to Home Depot in the morning and a guy would pull into the Home Depot next to me with a pickup truck, and standing out front are 300 guys from south of the border, and they're jumping up and down, and he'd say, you, and you, and you, and you, and you, get in the back of my truck. These guys are paying them cash under the table each and every day, and a guy like me, above board, doing things in an honest way, I can't possibly compete with a guy like that. The bottom line is there's a number that he's got to hit, and if he hits it, he's in there. How he disguises his number is just up between him and his accountant. But, I never got audited.
And I suppose that it's also the other thing that comes into play is how lenient is the government that you're working with, your state government, your city government. For example, as you're talking about that, I mean, everybody's seen day laborers. We got day laborers every morning that are, huddled in their masses, drinking their coffee about a block away. If I ever needed to go and grab people, I can put them in the back of a truck as well. But when I go into Stamford, Connecticut, I saw, and we're talking about a significant sized American city. When you go into Stamford, Connecticut, there are actually, they have traffic signs that designate areas where day laborers can congregate safely away from traffic. If I go the next time I go into up 95 into Stamford, Connecticut, I think it's like exit 9 Atlantic Street or something like that. There are designated zones for day laborers to get together, I guess, so that they are not getting too close to traffic. They have signs that were obviously ordered by the city to be installed by the city. So I guess as you're talking here, I'm saying to myself, yeah, there is the individual contractor and what they're willing to do and say and publish in their books, but there's also an environment that is set up by local government as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
One last note. Up here where I live, we don't have anything like that, right? I have a local Home Depot 3 minutes from my house. Oddly enough, I was there the other morning, 6 a.m., and here comes a guy from out of state with a big giant truck, and he stops me in the parking lot. And he flags me down. He goes, "Hey, dude, where's all the laborers, man? Where's all the guys looking for work?" I said, "We don't have that up here, buddy." he drove off disgusted. So we don't have that everywhere.
Okay.
But, like in Hollywood, holy crap, dude. There's 400 guys out there every morning waiting to jump in the back of your truck.
Well, thank you for calling in at the last minute. This was great. I think it's just really great calls all around tonight. Thank you so much, Zoe.
Really good. See ya.
Take care. Really great show. I really appreciate everybody calling in. Over on quitefranklysuperchat.com, Moon Bunny says, would love to go deeper into Stargate. Only touched the surface the other night. Don't worry, we're going there. We're going to go there from a quantum computing angle with Zach Voorhees next week, or this week. I think on the 30th. I think Zach's this week. I'm not sure. And then in the first week of February, we're going to go into it from an occult standpoint with Ryan Gable. And, it's always there. There's going to be more about it. So don't worry about that, Moon Bunny. I got you covered. Thank you so much to Moon Bunny and Larkstar, Brother Zoe, and Jay Britz over there. We have a couple more super chats on Rumble Rants. Katie Sky D says, I actually got into kindergarten with a fudged birth certificate since my birthday just missed the deadline to get me in that year. I recently found that certificate with the two of the 21st scraped off. You little criminal, you. Two Dogs, Mike D says she was still alive. She would have been an amazing guest. Her book, if she were still alive, she'd be an amazing guest. Her book will at least open your eyes to what is going on with your building and tells us how to fight against these things and would make an excellent addition to book club. Who? Mike Two Dogs, what? Is there a first one to that? Let me see. Hold on. Oh, here it is. There's a book called Behind the Green Mask by Rosa Cure, who ran a group called Democrats Against UN Agenda 21. YouTube had a lot of speeches that she gave to groups around the world. Oh, okay. I'm reading this in reverse.
Mike, if you do me a favor, send me a little something, a link or something to it, or a link to her speaking. That would be great. Then Mike says, of course, those appeared out of order, but whatever, take my money. You're really been something, man. You've been great support. One of many people out there who've been supporting for years, and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Over on quitefrankly.tv, here's the last of it. River Pike, thank you for your support. Oh, hold on. Sea Blanche, thank you. Stephen and Lori says, lucky to be alive. Looking forward to the film club. And visits from Dilly and Barris. Oh, yes. Lucky to be alive. That is the reprint of the Eyes Wide Shut New York Post edition that Tom Cruise is reading in the coffee shop after he was getting followed by the people from the party. So I had that lucky to be alive over there. I love it. I had to take it and put it on the outside. You might have noticed. I put it on the outside of the frame so that there would be no glare. Crafty. We're very crafty over here. Boys Blanc. Rook Castle says, we are the news. Legacy Media is dead. Got a couple of dollars now that my money isn't funding Gaza condoms. Oh, God, I wish I can have my portion of that $50 million back. I don't care if it's only enough to pay for a Snickers bar. Boys Blanc says, send Matt. Send Matt as a correspondent, but he's my serious favorite. Okay. Matt and King. Cookies from River Pike and Sea Blanche and Sean Joe. And River Pike is really laying it on thick over here. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you, Sean Joe. Again, Brew Bark says, waiting for Reno and Vegas to offer odds on the first state of the state official to be arrested by Tom Homan. Oh, yeah. Oh, I would love like Keith Ellison or somebody to go down. And governors and mayors need to be arrested. Be great. They all secretly want to be arrested, too. Because then they could be like, pretending like they're Rosa Parks or something like that, sitting in jail for, defending a invasion of your own country. You know you're going to wait, too, fat boy. Fat boy, wait till tomorrow. Thank you. Winston Dave says, are you in a future 15-minute city and don't know it? I wouldn't be surprised. You just don't know about these things, Dave. But if I find out, that'll be the straw that broke the camel's back. Or maybe I'll just be reporting from truly behind enemy lines. Uncensored Abe. What's up, Abe? Good to see you out there. River Pike and Gambera. You guys are really wonderful. I really appreciate you all. Take care. I saw those Uncensored Abe ads on Pilled for the longest. So I feel like we're best friends now. Anyway, have a great time, everybody. Here's what we have going on after the show right now. As soon as I sign off, John Carroll has it all set up for you on quitefrankly.tv. So head over there. You get to see the wonderful smackdown of Margaret Brennan by J.D. Vance, if you haven't seen it before. Andrew Ross Sorkin interviews Sam Altman. That should be an interesting. Take notes on those characters. Jeremy Ryan Slate with John Harold. Did Trump secretly plan for continuity of government? So you get a little bit of that. John Harold from Badlands. Got to have him on. Let's see. Alpha and Omega Productions. The New Age movement is deceiving and pushing a satanic agenda. Jimmy Akin with Wes Huff. Adding or deleting books from the Bible. And then Art Bell Kicker with Danny and Brinkley. Life After Death, all starting on quitefrankly.tv as soon as this show concludes. I hope to see you all there, ladies and gentlemen. This was a wonderful night, and I hope that we have many more to come. And thank you so much. Until tomorrow, please become a sponsor, because everybody that sponsors from here all throughout February, I can't announce it just yet, but we're putting together a really special welcome package for people in February to commemorate the first month of Film Club. So, if you go to the Sponsor Us page on quitefrankly.tv and become a sponsor anywhere on that Sponsor Us page, that's going to be a fun time. Absolutely. Would love to have you on. It's a big year Big year for new media. Invest in new media, especially if you enjoy hanging out with me every night. A little goes a long way. Take care. See you tomorrow.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Everybody else shit. Fuck. Everybody else shit.